Recently, I've been playing a game called Ocho. It's a roguelike game made in the same top-down style as Hotline Miami, with the same glorious aggressive gameplay that encourages you to go all out against your enemies and paint the floors red with their blood. The game is amazing, but true to the genre, very difficult, so sadly I cannot review it yet, as my personal rule for roguelikes is that I have to see the end credits at least once. In the meantime, I've been looking around my library for other spiritual successors to Hotline Miami and came across the Hong Kong Massacre, a game that takes the idea of Hotline Miami and makes it a bit more straightforward, and one that ends up feeling a bit closer to Max Payne if you were playing it at the highest difficulty. But before we elaborate any further, let's cover the basics first. In the Hong Kong Massacre, we play as a police detective for the HKPD. He was out on duty with his partner when the operation they were in went wrong, and his partner, a childhood friend, got killed. Now, out for revenge, the detective arms himself and seeks out every corner of Hong Kong's criminal underworld to wipe out the entire triad and avenge his partner. And that's it really. Among the Hotline Miami inspired games, I say this one leans more towards being a no-nonsense police drama, but more on that later. The main reason I say this is a more no-nonsense take of the genre is because rather than give you a huge variety of weapons, scoring system, and kill streaks, the game just gives you 4 different weapons and then arms everyone, leading to 35 levels of fun little high-octane gunfights. True to the genre, the battlefield is balanced in a way that fights should be fair, quote-unquote. All your enemies go down in one shot, no exception. Even the armored enemies that show up towards the final stretch are only protected by taking 2 shots instead of 1. You can dodge bullets if you time it well, and of course you can't forget bullet time. The catch, however, is that enemies can also kill you with a single bullet, and in turn, anyone carrying something better than a pistol can dodge your shots, so you have to be quick and take them down before they get you. I did say things are balanced, because even though you are outnumbered, a well-timed bullet can have you painting and destroying entire rooms before the bodies even hit the floor. As a result, I can tell you that in the early hours you are going to be dying a lot. And I do mean a lot. So to prevent that, you learn to master the main mechanics. Getting a handle on both the shooting, dodging, and bullet time can lead to some beautiful bloodbaths, getting yourself out of situations where you will actually die, and then you get to see a close-up of the last enemy you kill before you get the results. Bullet time also has another benefit. Every time you kill an enemy, the meter refills a bit. As long as you keep moving out of the way of enemy shots and keep pressure on them, you can find yourself waltzing through a little bullet hell. It gets to a point where it does feel like it is a scene taken out of a movie. Bonus points that this game allegedly inspired an actual movie to do this. It is as awesome as it sounds. Now, you will think that's all there is to the game, and in theory that is true. But there are a couple of small layers to this game that made me love it enough to make this review. Because the levels are relatively short and you can in theory finish the story in 4 to 6 hours if you just focus on killing everyone, it means there should be something in place to encourage replayability, bringing us to the 3-star system and the upgrade system. Each of the main levels have 3 side objectives. In order to earn the 3 stars, you need to beat the levels under the indicated time limit, essentially making it a speedrun challenge. Then you need to make a run where you kill everyone with perfect accuracy, aka only use 1 bullet on each enemy, no spraying and no spamming. And finally, you need to beat the levels without using bullet time at all. Obviously, doing this is a lot easier said than done. The time limit and the perfect accuracy are very doable, and they do come with the side effect of helping you learn how to optimize your runs. See where enemy patrol emplacements are, and then make the ideal route where you can clean a house in a single pass. And this carries over to further levels, where you start automatically scanning rooms for enemies, and thus get to do less attempts. Perfect accuracy is also nice, but it comes with a caveat that annoyed me big time. I can deal with missed shots being largely my fault, either because I aim badly or shot too early or too late. It is a different story when the game's AI decides to screw me over. Remember how I said enemies can dodge your shots as much as you do theirs? You can find yourself in the middle of completing a perfect accuracy run, only for one of the guys to dodge at the exact moment you fire at them. Exposing that sadly, for all the spectacle the gunfight give, they are hitscan guns, rather than actually need accuracy, meaning that if an enemy dodges and that shot is missed, it doesn't even matter if another enemy was behind him. And while this taught me to time my shots better and be on the lookout for random dodging, it was no less frustrating. Beating the levels without using bullet time, it shows just how dangerous enemies are and how important reaction time it is for you. Gunfights in full real time are pure chaos. You end up honing your reflexes, learning enemy behavior, and before you realize it, you are cleaning the house before the enemies get to shoot back at you. It's pure adrenaline and it certainly kept the blood flowing. I love it. And the payoff ends up being very worth it. The stars you earn on each level serves as currency that you can invest into upgrading the guns. Better fire rate, larger clips, increased movement speed for yourself, you name it, it's there. And you do need it. Because true to its Hotline Miami roots, your guns only have one clip of ammo. On top of dealing with the hectic gunfights, you also need to keep an eye on your ammo count if you're not going for accuracy, and know when to rush into a shootout and when to pick up a fresh gun so you can keep having a fighting chance. All of this culminating with a boss fight with a triad leader at the end of each of the 5 days. A full-on side-by-side pursuit, trading shots with the leaders and facing the challenge of killing them earlier if you want to avoid henchmen trying to cut you off, or making it to the end of the map with less cover and more chances for you to die. I wish I could sing more praises to the combat, but true to this being an indie game, there is a fair share of flaws and jank. Not enough to ruin the experience, but still there to cause frustration every once in a while. Because the game is 3D and part of the spectacle is giving physics to everything, it means trying to dodge enemy fire can get you killed to little to no follow your own, either by getting stuck in the geometry or dodging into a place where a well-timed bullet can end you and you are helpless to do anything about it, because the dodge animation has you magnetized to where you got stuck. The game's crosshair has a little X that shows up whenever you have a guaranteed shot at an enemy, and using it as a guide can help you at the best of times. But at the worst of times, your shots can hit other places instead, despite the indicator making you think you can hit them, and don't get me started on those horribly timed enemy dodges. Although I did say the boss fights are very climactic, they're all the exact same corridor battle. They do get old quickly, and it doesn't help you don't get any kind of dialogue to make it seem like you were doing a major action. And then there is this weird bug where for some reason, no matter what I tried, the game will reset its resolution to a lowest possible one. This happened to me constantly, especially if I had to pause the game or if I finished a level and moved back to the level select screen. It was very annoying and I would have dropped the game if I hadn't had that much fun with it. It just feels like these are small hiccups preventing the game from truly reaching its true potential. The combat-related ones become especially egregious because as you make progress, the game starts cranking up its own difficulty by giving you starting rooms with multiple enemies. But I guess you should be safe if you are only interested in playing through the game normally and don't plan to suffer 100% completing this like I did. Because while the story itself is mostly flavor text, literally the police drama aspect is very fun. The story is told in media res for the first 4 chapters. You get bits and pieces that flesh out the motivation behind your rampage, and how the triads are trying to counter your attacks, and getting to know how important your partner was, that of this making your nameless protagonist waging a one-man war against the triads. I feel like there is a lot of room for improvement in this game if they decided to iron things out for a potential sequel, but from what I am reading, their next game is an FPS, so I guess this take on the Hotline Miami style begins and ends here. Not that I mind it, with everything said and done. The Hong Kong Massacre actually scratched my itch for that sort of aggressive all-or-nothing action gameplay. It felt nice to play something more straightforward, and true to what makes me love video games, I like seeing developers make new things from concepts that the devs who started them won't explore anytime soon. Because Hotline Miami ended after the second game, so watching other studios tackle this and give it their own spin is something I'm 100% behind. As for me recommending this game, I will say yes, but only if you are into difficult action games. Most of my frustration was self-inflicted. I know this is very niche of a genre, but that's a big part of why I enjoyed it. I know I always say this, but this is one of the reasons I love having an eternal backlog. You never know what you're gonna find or what kind of hidden gem you can get, but I don't think I'm gonna try another difficult yet awesome action game like this anytime soon. Challenging myself is nice, but the time I put into this game, I need to pace myself out and play something a bit more chill, or even a bit less hectic. That way, I avoid burnout, and by the time I get back to the next challenging game, I will be well rested and refreshed, ready to take on another exciting challenge.